Hello and welcome back to the Unintentional Juror podcast. I go by the name of Heinz. Thank you so much for tuning in once again for another video. Yes, we are back with the Unintentional Juror podcast, and it has been a while since we've been here, and we talked about this. And for today's stream, we are bringing updates in regards to the Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively situation. Justin Baldoni has sued the New York Times for defamation, which has pretty much tilted everything. It's pretty much brought everything back into perspective, if I'm being honest with you, because the truth is, ever since the allegations was made by the New York Times in that article about Justin Baldoni, it has been pretty much untenable for him. I would imagine it's been untenable for him because finding there were a lot of allegations made in that filing about his indiscretions and about what he's been doing behind the scenes of this set of It Ends With Us, the movie. I haven't seen the movie myself, so I have no critique there. But in regards to this lawsuit that he's filed in response to the Blake Lively lawsuit, there's a lot here that we have to discuss today. So, without further, let's go into the lawsuit. As seen here, he is filing for libel, as well as false light and invasion of privacy, promissory fraud, and breach of implied contract. That's his filing for today, and he demands a jury trial for this. And it must be noted that the New York Times, as a company, has not lost a libel case since the 1960s. So, which the last libel that they lost was the famous New York Times versus Sullivan case, in which it was held that you have to prove actual malice. So I think that's the last time that they lost a libel case. But this is, so he is in kind of, how successful would this go in beating anti-slapp is the question. So because it does really seem like he's just suing because there is an article written about him, and as you know, in the United States, they have a First Amendment privilege, which freedom of speech is championed. So, how successful will he be in beating that California anti-slapp? We shall see, because I imagine the New York Times would invoke that anti-slapp and try and get this case thrown out, but let's see what the lawsuit has to say. So it begins with, at 9:46 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, December 20th, 2024, New York Times reporter Megan Towery requested plaintiffs' response to an imminent 4,000-word bombshell story concerning their alleged orchestration of a smear campaign targeting Blake Lively. Purportedly in response to Lively's disclosure of concerns about the working environment on set of It Ends With Us, the film. The film's production company, Wayfarer, its principals Baldoni and Heath, and its public relations representatives Nathan and Abel were asked to provide on the record comments and to notify the Times of any inaccuracies by noon Eastern time. The next day, on December 21st, 2024, a mere 14 hours overnight, plaintiff's representative promptly denied Lively's accusations as reported by the Times and criticized both Lively and the Times' reliance on the cherry-picked and altered communications stripped of necessary context and deliberately spliced and misled. So, despite its claim to have reviewed all these along with other documents, the Times relied almost entirely on Lively's unverified and self-serving narrative, lifting it nearly verbatim while disregarding an abundance of evidence that contradicted her claims and exposed her true motives. But the Times did not care. Given the breadth of the article and the coordinated drop, it's readily apparent that the Times had been quietly working in concert with Lively's team for weeks or months. The Times participated actively in the legal maneuvering at the heart of Lively's strategy. Notably, Lively chose not to file a lawsuit against Baldoni, Wayfarer, or any of the plaintiffs, a choice that spurred her from scrutiny of the discovery process, including answering questions under oath and producing communications. This decision was no accident. First, her administrative complaint is rife with blatant falsehoods and egregious misrepresentations that would have subjected her to dismissal if not sanctions. Second, pursuing formal legal action would have derailed her true objective, an orchestrated campaign to rehabilitate her public image. So it must be, I must say and put it out there that Lively has actually in turn formalized her complaint. So it's no longer a complaint; it's actually a now lawsuit in which she is citing harassment and I believe it's infliction of intentional infliction IIED, infliction of emotional distress, intentional infliction of emotional distress. I think that's how you say it. So she has formalized that lawsuit in her updated complaint. I just thought I'd bring that out, but I haven't got that complaint to read, or I would presume that it will be similar allegations that she made in the complaint in her formalized lawsuit. But today we're only gonna go over the lawsuit by Baldoni. Instead, Lively filed a request for a right to sue letter with the California Civil Rights Department. A procedural formality that does not require pleadings, remains confidential unless leaked as it was here, and crucially does not subject the complaint to discovery. While such a letter can precede a lawsuit, it is clear that litigation was never our ultimate goal. Her real intention was to weaponize the appearance of legitimacy conferred by a number of legal documents to launch salacious, headline-grabbing allegations and reshape a public persona at the expense of the plaintiffs. Like I said in the previous stream where we were talking about Blake Lively's lawsuit, I did say that in that stream, in that particular stream, I did say in that stream that this filing that she made the complaint does legitimize whatever allegation that she has to say, because a lot of people will look at a court document and think, oh, it must be factual immediately without having to go into much more detail, without having to think twice. So I think that's what they are echoing here. Lively found willing allies at the New York Times, which uncritically embraced her CRD complaint as fact and disregarded the plaintiff's emphatic objections. Without even waiting for the response deadline of noon Eastern Time on December 21st, 2024, the Times rushed to publish its inflammatory article. We can bury anyone inside a Hollywood smear machine at 10:11 a.m., nearly 2 hours early. This brazen disregard for journalistic integrity and fairness resulted in an article rife with inaccuracies and misrepresentations and omissions. In an era where public trust in media has reached an historic low and legacy outlets are increasingly criticized as biased and agenda driven, the Times has chosen to double down on sensationalism and oversimplified narratives rather than striving for accuracy and balance. It has prioritized hollow signaling over substantive reporting, further eroding its credibility and exacerbating the very mistrust it claims to combat. The article's central thesis, encapsulated in a defamatory headline designed to mislead the reader, is that plaintiffs orchestrated a retaliatory public relations campaign against Lively for speaking out about sexual harassment, a premise that is categorically false and easily disproven. I would love to see this, because I would say that the initial lawsuit filing did include a lot of allegations that does have to be, that I was looking for this response. I was hoping for this response, whether it be swift or not, because a lot of things were left in the air and requiring answers. So I'm hoping that there will be some answers here, and he can disprove whatever was said in the initial filing. If the Times truly reviewed the thousands of private communications it claimed to have obtained, its reporters would have seen incontrovertible evidence that it was Lively, not plaintiffs, who engaged in a calculated smear campaign. So he's turning this on her, saying that it was actually her that's done it. I would love to see this, because there were some text messages that I saw that we saw that was if memory serves, it includes, if memory serves well, if I remember, the text messages were of astroturfing and setting up, preparing for a smear campaign. In the last stream that we did, remember, I there was responses from Nathan and Abel, both publicists. Jennifer Abel was basically speaking in support of Justin Baldoni in the previous stream that we did. We found her Instagram message that she put out there to say that she supports Justin, and this was that they were only getting ready for an attack. They didn't really initiate anything. That they were pretty much just gearing up in case they have to do something. And I made a couple of points in that last stream about, which I'm not gonna repeat here really, but the points. But but basically the main idea was they were just getting ready to respond to any smear that would have happened should it happen, any negative headline basically. The complete communications demonstrate beyond question the plaintiffs had no intention of destroying or burying Lively through aggressive tactics. On the contrary, Baldoni consistently expressed his desire to avoid harming Lively and protect the film, but also recognize a legitimate need for public relations protection in light of Lively's false and damaging claims. So this is this proof that is shown. You see, it shows here that good morning. I'm sharing with you a perfect example of why we don't use bots. I wouldn't have to worry to think they have hired a team. As nothing to find. They hired an awful team, which I have sent to our guy to track and pull, so we need evidence of it. This below should answer everyone's question on which a bot team look like when a single comment suddenly skews. So this is with Melissa Nathan and Justin Baldoni and their communications. He said, Melissa Nathan says it doesn't. Sorry. Justin Baldoni says it's like, how can we say somehow that we are not doing any of this? It looks like we are trying to take her down. And then Melissa Nathan says it doesn't. They are doing all of this themselves, and it's really obvious. So, like we said in the last stream, that that they didn't need to do anything because the public was already doing the job for them. Basically, we mentioned that in the last stream. I think that's what they're echoing here. Okay, Justin says, okay, please monitor. Things I'm more worried about is that we are planting these stories, which is obvious, which is not true, obviously. And then Jennifer Abel says, chiming in here, the people saying that there are bots and this is PR play on your side is a minority voice compared to the thousands and thousands who are calling it what it is and reacting to Blake's own actions and interviews. And this is going back to, I believe I've seen I've seen a content creator mention that in one of the interviews that she did, that she wasn't really the most fair-minded person, if that makes sense. That she wasn't really the most nice person to be around, to be around. So I think that's what they're alluding to here. We never want the action of the minority to dictate what we do on our end. We have always looked at the big picture, which is still enormous on your side, but I do see a want and need for the fans to move on. So all of this here is showing that they were trying to protect Justin's image, but at the same time they were also noticing how this was not anything to do with them, that it was all the public's doing. And that is exactly what was basically echoed in the last stream with Jennifer Abel, who came out in that Instagram message to basically speak in support of Justin Baldoni, which we discussed on the last stream. The next screenshot says tag team. It ends with us, Sony. Okay, so I think this is Justin Baldoni's PR. It says they messaged me 5 minutes before this went up, and it basically, Jamie Heath says, so glad Blake was praised. Let her get a win. It would be nice to have a Sony executive praise Justin. So it's showing that that they were happy that Jamie Heath, in which I believe in the previous lawsuit that he was under a lot of scrutiny as well. I think he was the one that was mentioning the porn addiction. I think if he just went into the trailer. I believe that was the allegation. So they're putting out there that he was glad that Blake was getting praised. So moving on, it says here the article is predicated on Lively's CRD complaint, which references text exchanges between Nathan and Abel as purported evidence that Nathan planted a negative story in the Daily Mail. Tilted, is Blake Lively said to be cancelled? Lively's portrayal is category false, misleading, devoid of factual basis, yet knowingly endorsed by the Times, which claimed to have reviewed thousands of pages of text messages and emails. The smear campaign hinges on the August 16th text exchange in which Nathan allegedly shared a link to this article with Abel. The text exchange shows Abel responding, "Wow," followed by, "You really outdid yourself with this one." To which Nathan allegedly replied, "That's why you hired me, right? I'm the best." These messages constitute the entirety of the purported evidence underlying the allegation of a smear campaign orchestrated on behalf of Baldoni. So it shows here the text message communication, and basically it shows the red here was the alteration, which was excluded. He says it's excluded from the original filing. So the emojis that would have casted a different light, which I'm looking here, would be jokingly said that would be basically taking praise for something that they didn't do, is what the emoji is suggesting. So that wasn't included and that was excluded. So here, this part here was excluded. It basically says, "Heading to the airport and there is a drive through the jungle that there is going to be no reception for around 24 hours. Joke, 45 minutes. I'm so sorry. You bring off the line 45 minutes was not included in the scope. Unacceptable." So basically, with that context in mind, they were just basically joking around about the smear campaign, quote unquote, the smear campaign working in their favor. If you're liking the stream so far, do make sure you hit the like button, and also let me know what you're feeling in the chat in chat below. I endeavor to read all of your chats. But yeah, let's continue on with the stream. The Times, however, was aware that these text messages were unscrupulously altered and selectively edited, enabling both Lively and our team and the Times to propagate a false smear campaign narrative designed to destroy plaintiffs. Specifically, in the immediate preceding text exchange on August 16th, Nathan forwarded a screenshot of a message from a reporter informing her for the first time of the Daily Mail article. In response, Nathan wrote, "Damn, this is not fair because it's also not me," followed by, "Everything now looks like it's me," conclusively refuting her involvement in the creation of the or decimation of the article. This is the part that was also not included. It says here the Mail is going nuts. It says, "Damn, this is unfair because it's also not me. Everything now looks like it's me, maybe not you." So that was Nathan saying that. It says, "No, it totally does look like his side," and this was included in the lawsuit. Just this picture, nothing with the text messages, which basically said, "Cool, thank you." Now, would this be enough to be anti-slapp? Is another question, because alterations is a good start. Because it's falsity that they are aiming for in that lawsuit. Alterations is a good start. Further evidence of the Times' complicity arises from its apparent endorsement of the criminal alteration of these text messages by Lively. After Nathan forwarded a screenshot of the article link, Abel responded with, "You really outdid yourself with this piece," adding the upside down smiley face emoji to indicate the sarcastic nature of our message. The upside down smiley emoji is commonly used to convey irony, sarcasm, joking, or a sense of goofiness or silliness. Yeah, I use that a lot as well. I feel bad because when you take that when you take out the emoji, it does look nefarious when you take it out. So that is a very important alteration, as he is claiming here. In a CRD complaint, Lively deliberately excluded not only The preceding screenshots of the text messages disproving Nathan's involvement in the story, but also the also upside down emoji, upside down smiley face emoji, which fundamentally alters the sarcastic tone of Abel's message and misleads the reader into interpreting her response as serious. This omitted crucial context is critical, as it demonstrates that each subsequent message in the exchange was similarly intended as sarcasm, including Nathan's statement, "That's why you hire me, right? I'm the best." Further review of the text message exchange, also excluded from both Lively's and CRD complaint and the Times article, unequivocally shows that Abel and Nathan were engaging in a sarcastic and joking manner, as evidenced by the use of the tabback reaction. When read in full, the exchange reveals Nathan and Abel engaging in facetious juvenile banter, not conspiring against Lively. The Times relied on Lively's CRD complaint and based solely on this exchange intentionally duped readers into believing that Baldoni orchestrated a smear campaign, purportedly using Nathan and Abel as his accomplices. Indeed, the Times, like Lively, misrepresented these communications to support a salacious and unfounded smear campaign narrative. This calculated distortion underscores the article's lack of credibility and its reliance on sensationalism over substantive truth. Any negative press about Lively was unequivocally a consequence of our own actions. Even the Times itself acknowledged Lively's public missteps on August 17th, 2024 article titled "It Ends With Us, the Press Tour Drama Explained." In it, reporter Shivani Gonzalez observed Lively's promotion of the movie as included a push for her new hair care line, discussion of the clothes in the movie, and response to questions about abuse, which have been criticized as shallow and tone deaf. But Baldoni, by contrast, has emphasized the importance of raising awareness of domestic violence and providing resources for those in similar situations. Now, this is what is alleging is that she's doing all this because of the fact that she had a very tone deaf response to the whole press junket that they had, and because of that she is reacting this way to garner more, to basically clean up her press image or our PR image. More is written here. The communications between TMZ and I believe this is Melissa Nathan. So it says reporter says Blake Lively's little bump taint felt like a bullet. El Mao, we interview her too. Let me find the interview after. When lol. Also, what the f? Why am I in this too? You're a starlet. F this week. I was the stunt. And then more wink and smiley face. So Lively's marketing efforts, which included encouraging audiences to grab your friends wearing your florals while promoting her hair care and alcohol brands, were widely criticized as insensitive. This was particularly glaring given World Health Organization statistics showing that 55% of domestic violence incidents involve alcohol. Our actions naturally triggered organic public criticism and unleashed a cycle of negative coverage, including as in common in the digital age, the resurfacing of old unflattering content. So that's what we that's what is shown here. More communications with Melissa Nathan. We didn't tell Jed to go after the idea that our promo was inappropriate. That happened organically. This is a movie about domestic violence. They were they that they were florals too. Zoe sent me this on Saturday and goes, this is a crazy way to market this movie. So they're all acknowledging that they all had nothing to do with anything that was going on here. That this is all Blake Lively's doing. Going back to number 14, it says, far from being the product of a calculated smear campaign by plaintiffs, the backlash against Lively was inevitable fallout of our own tone deaf messaging and self-promotion tactics, amplified by our inability to read the room in addressing such a serious subject. More here to show her tone, them saying a record straight, saying that none of them would ever do this. Also, no one even pays attention to this person past 2005. He's not relevant. He doesn't create headline news. It's organic. She's blown herself up by our own actions. This is obviously none of us knew about this either. But once the media goes in, they go in. And the best thing we can do right now is be quiet. Let's get through this week together. Moving on to read, the content creators are on fire, and Justin, she's handed it to them on a plate. Just concentrate on the success of this movie. And to be fair, I did watch a content creator that was a psychologist that basically commented on the tone deafness here by Blake Lively by what happened, and it is quite it is quite the what someone supposed to say. It's quite the revelation to see that this team was not actually behind this, and they were actually just watching this blow up naturally, and that they didn't have to do anything. God, I'm so over this. I'm sure Leslie thinks we plays this one as well. Yep. So they were bracing themselves up to basically be blamed for something that they didn't do, basically. The article also deliberately ignores that Lively's publicist Leslie Sloan of Vision PR, once backed by Harvey Weinstein, see the stories critical of Baldoni, including that Baldoni was a sexual predator ahead of the film's release. Sloan did so even while Nathan attempted to cooperate in good faith. So this is the text messages between what Sloan has said. This is the part to read. Says here, she said that the whole cast hits Justin. This has nothing to do with Blake, and now she's saying that Blake was sexually assaulted. Why wouldn't she say anything about that then? She knows she's full of S. She told me that the whole issue was that everybody hates Justin, nothing about Blake and Justin. She said it has nothing to do with Blake. BS. And this is what Leslie Sloan was apparently saying through all of this. I promise she's lying. This will not look good for your site. The entire cast, I will have to go on record. She's saying this to James. Can you give me anything at all on what the issue is? Then it is not her and it's him. No, I'm on a plane and this needs to hold. I'm telling you, she's a liar. They are panicking as the whole cast hates him. So what Leslie Sloan is basically saying that no, that she's calling Blake a liar. Baby, from one reading, she's calling Blake a liar, and Justin Baldoni, and trying to defend Justin at the same time. Um, she says here, what the f is going on? The oil cars doesn't like Justin, nothing to do with Blake. I'm telling, like I said, the reporting is that there were issues between her and Justin as well as others, and that Justin found it difficult to work with her. One of these reporters known is close with Steph Jones. B Day used to always get Tom Brady, Gazelle S, and Steph reps him. I believe him. I told him she's awful and to not rely on anything she says. So that was a conversation between James and Leslie. All of this are messages sent between Leslie, all about that. So it says here, to assert that plaintiffs orchestrated a premeditated smear campaign is to disregard objective evidence that unequivocally contradicts such claims. Even a cursory investigation by the Times would have exposed the baseless nature of Lively's allegations and the lack of factual support for a narrative. Most troubling, however, is the Times' deliberate omission of the critical player in this manufactured controversy, Stephanie Jones. Once Baldoni's and Wayfarer's trusted public relations representative, Jones not only had immediate, intimate access to the communication strategy and crisis management surrounding the film, but also played a pivotal role in leaking private communications cited in the article. Her betrayal, driven by a quid pro quo arrangement with Lively, appears aimed at shielding herself while aligning with Lively to curry favor and secure future opportunities. At least we know who was behind the receipt and giving the receipt over to the individuals that was working for the Times. So we know where the receipts came from in regards to Mason Nathan, and it all came from Stephanie Jones. It's a Stephanie Jones. Communications here with Stephanie Jones and Wayfarer Studios. The Times compounded its journalistic failures by uncritically advancing Lively's unsubstantiated claims of sexual harassment against Heath and Baldoni. For example, the article based on Lively's CRD complaint sensationally alleges that Mr. Heath had shown Lively a video of his naked wife with Lively's CRD complaint. Even labeling the footage as pornography. Oh, hi Christine. Hi Christine Fortunato. Nice for you to join us. I hope that you are enjoying the stream. That's nice for you to join us. This claim is patently absurd. The video in question was a non-pornographic recording of his wife and baby during a home birth, a deeply personal one with no sexual overtone. To distort this benign event into an act of sexual misconduct is outrageous and emblematic of the lengths to which Lively and her collaborators are willing to go to defame the plaintiffs. This is the full video in reference. The Times' failure to scrutinize these claims or even provide a balanced account of the event further underscores its role in amplifying Lively's falsehoods while abandoning its responsibility to truth and accuracy. The video was shown to Lively as part of a creative discussion in preparation for a birthing scene in the film. He informed Lively that his wife condone is displaying the video. Any suggestion that he engaged in the exhibition of pornography or inappropriate content is false. Hey Wings, Wings says, "Hey there, hope all you all are well." Hey Wings, welcome to the stream, Wings. I hope that you are well as well. Nice for you to join us. Adding to the sexual harassment narrative is the article's parroted accusation that both men repeatedly entered a makeup trailer uninvited while she was undressed, including when she was breastfeeding. What Lively and the article failed to mention is that Lively invited Baldoni into her trailer while pumping to work out their lines. Oh my gosh. And there is a text message to even show the communication. It says here, Blake, I'm sorry to hear you and the baby are sick. I know it's literally the last thing you needed right now on top of the week, on top of a tough week. I pray it comes and goes with mild symptoms and more than anything that is okay. If you feel up for it, I'm here absolutely anytime and would love to check in. I know this week was a lot and I'm committed to making things run smoother across the board. Blake Lively responds saying, "Our mistake, Molly did get the new pages at 11 p.m. last night. She didn't realize they were new, but new pages can always be sent to me as well. I'm just pumping in my trailer if you want to work out our lines. Copy, eating with crew and we'll head that way. Take your time. I'm here. I'll meet you. Sorry, just seeing this." And then they were having more conversations. Wow. He is not playing around in this lawsuit at all. Justin is not playing around in this lawsuit at all. Likewise, the allegation that Baldoni inappropriately described Lively's character attire as sexy is exaggerated and misleading. The text message exchanges between Baldoni and Lively show that Lively had insisted that a character's clothing be much sexier. And when Baldoni later used the word sexy, he was just responding to her creative input and not objectifying her personally. Lively says the tone that Baldoni heeded during the creative process. And he says it just text Ange this also will show you both ways, but Beanie is much sexier. Is the look oh my gosh, is the look feels TV without, especially with a crop top in the snow. It justifies the rest of the skin and also is a girl. I would check out walking down the street because it washes the effort of the rest of the look. Justin responds with gold morning. If you don't have the time to listen with morning craziness is here is just a text. Just want to make sure that you're okay with throwing a jacket on from yesterday morning or putting it on your I want to line up a shot and see if I can just use a piece of the shoulder for establishing the shot of the old cafe we didn't get yesterday. I might not need it, but just want the cover. See you soon. It's just a show, like a shoulder problem. I think they're going into a different conversation. I think that's it. That's all we need to see. But he has come with he has presented receipts to show the misleading nature of the texts that Justin was alluding to. Sorry, that Blake was basically saying that he was going that he was describing everyone as sexy on the set. Also misleading. The article draws on Lively's assertion that Baldoni improvised unwanted kissing and discuss his sex life. However, both the Times and Lively intentionally exclude that Lively refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator to plan out the film's sex scenes. Baldoni, in turn, was forced to meet with the intimacy coordinator alone and relay any suggestions to Lively separately. Notwithstanding Baldoni's reluctance, he and Lively would later sketch out the scenes together, absent the intimacy coordinator. As part of those creative discussions, like Baldoni and Lively sought to personalize and develop their characters, and in doing so, engage in conversation about their individual experiences. The Times, taking Lively's CRD complaint as true, characterizes this discussion as an inappropriate attempt by Baldoni to talk about a sex life. It was not. More still, Baldoni consistently acted at the direction of the intimacy coordinator. These baseless accusations do not constitute sexual harassment. Damn. Damn. And this is some more text messages to show. Okay, so some more text messages. It says, just hired intimacy coordinator with love. Sorry, so not with love. It says, just hired an intimacy coordinator who I love. Will set you up to meet. Let me zoom in a little bit because I can't see it. I can't see it a little bit. I can't see it here. Hold up. Did I miss it? I think I went too far. Okay. I feel good. I can meet her when we start. Thank you though. Just FYI, just wanted to tell you about this. Seems she doesn't want to meet. Seems she doesn't want to meet intimacy coordinator until we start, which may mess up the workflow. But I can still meet with her, of course. Female producer says that's fine. If she doesn't want to meet her now, you'll just have to walk her through with you and just says she censored out the intimacy coordinator are thinking. Okay, despite its effort to craft a distorted narrative, the Times fails to address a glaring contradiction in Lively's CRD complaint. After the execution of the protections of the for return to production agreement in November 2023, Lively herself acknowledges that the film was completely marketed and released safely and successfully. While Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath disagreed with Lively's rationale for requesting the document, many of its provisions were already standard practice. They chose to comply for the sake of the film and to ensure Lively's comfort. Crucially, Lively concedes that neither Baldoni nor Heath engaged in any harassing behavior following the agreement in November 2023. Furthermore, she admits that her stated concerns were sufficiently addressed at that time. This admission directly undermines her allegations of retaliation and strips her claims of credibility. Without the fabricated smear campaign narrative popping up a CRD complaint, Lively's retaliation claim collapses under its own contradictions, exposing it as yet another ploy to salvage a public image rather than pursue any legitimate grievance. The fact is that Lively embarked on a hostile takeover of the production, strong harming Sony into blessing her with ultimate control, as they became increasingly frantic and unsettled by the usurpation of their roles. Baldoni remained resolute that they continue to take the high road and be proud of the beautiful baby that they are all made together. Notwithstanding, Lively waged war on Baldoni, weaponizing innocuous interactions from May and June 2023, long before there was any tension between them, to vilify and discredit him. At the time, Baldoni and Lively had a solid working relationship, and Lively expressed no unease around him. Only after the writers' strike had ended and filming was set to resume did Lively express any concern about returning to set. In response, Wayfarer and Baldoni agreed to all of Lively's demands. And this is more messages. Just curious if you guys have peaked at our cut, and if anything has changed. Editor says, I just been told that we are not permitted to look. Wow, why didn't that happen? As per Sony this evening, through and wow. Okay then. The editors and directors isn't allowed to look at an actress's cut. Got it. Well, here we go. We'll keep taking the high road. To suggest that, as the Times does, that plaintiffs engage in dark arts to destroy Lively's reputation is to ignore that Lively had long-standing reputational challenges, and the plaintiffs' public relations efforts were rudimentary, above board, and entirely defensive. The Times willingly omits any meaningful discussion of the true source of tension between Lively and the plaintiffs, which was Lively's brazen and calculated effort to expropriate the film. Like, come on, we had nothing to do with that. This is crazy. She doesn't have a good reputation. All of this is organic stuff from people making TikToks, not bots. And then I think this is communication with Melissa Nathan and Jessica. Sorry, not Jessica. Jennifer Abel. More communications here with the editor of the movie, and Justin Baldoni. Just says, hey, just checking in. I hope you're hanging in there. We're going through it. We're gonna get through this. Damn it. And he says, thanks for checking in. I've sat with it, and I think the best path forward spiritually and what's best for the movie is that I suck it up and let her in. I've sent a message requesting that it starts on the 18th, and then we would just let her in until she leaves, and then cuts and updates throughout the process. I'll let you guys know what she says. Thanks for being awesome. Dream team. We got you. I think that sounds like a very good plan on all fronts. And so it says, we made a beautiful baby together. The baby might not grow up tone exactly who we thought, but it's still beautiful. That's what I'm holding on to. Very proud of us. She says, wow, I can't say I'm shocked. I'm shocked because I was hoping that you were going to be able to not let this beat you down, and it sounds like you achieved that. And yes, the movie we handed her was so good that even if it's been screwed with, the base work will still sound true. The last I heard was that she was putting back a fair amount of her version, just not sure what that entailed or to what extent. I guess you'll find out today. Hang in there, and we will all catch up when the wounds are not quite as fresh. Sending love to you both. As replied to Justin Baldoni by the editor. It says, paragraph 26 goes on to say, the Times assertion that plaintiffs orchestrated a campaign to tarnish Lively's reputation blatantly disregards her bizarre behavior at the time and misrepresents plaintiffs' actions, which were modest, transparent, and purely defensive. The article entirely sidesteps the real source of the conflict between Lively and plaintiffs. Lively's calculated and audacious attempt to seize control of the film. So some more discussions here. It says, hi, let me try and zoom in if I can see that. I don't think I moved in too quickly, too fast, I mean. Okay, can't see more than that. So it says, hi Jamie, just filled in the book on. I know this is devastating and such a kick in the guts. It's petty and childish at this point. I'm just making sure you're okay. We will get through this. I on the prize. Her attending the book con is a win for the film ultimately. And if she wants to drag her ass to Texas, then let her. You can be home with your family, which is important. And then Justin responds to Jen Abel, says she's kicked me out officially, but from the film now, she's finishing it all. I can't be involved. Music, sound, effects, everything. Making it through somehow. Just need to feel it all. I can't read that, so I can't really say anything. Notably absent from the Times narrative is Lively's insistence on obtaining editing privileges and demanding our own version of the film, a departure from industry standards. Even more egregiously, Lively's leverage promotional commitments to pressure for the release of her cut, evidence of Baldoni's efforts to accommodate Lively's demands includes a series of text exchanges with editors who were later replaced by Lively in favor of her husband's editor. Underscores the extreme length Baldoni went in order to preserve the film's integrity. The Times' willful omission of these critical details not only distorts the truth, but also perpetuates a false narrative that conveniently absolves Lively of our own culpability in the unraveling of professional relationships and the upheaval surrounding the film. And this is more text messages between the editor and Justin Baldoni, talking about the edits. Yeah, it says they're showing it. It's showing it at Book Bonanza, the whole movie. Yep, hers. Wow, it's like was supposed to be ours, and then I was uninvited. The whole thing is pretty cruel and intense, uneffing believable. Oh, sorry, Justin. I love you both. And then the editors continue discussing, saying, "I just hope you love for at least stomach the cut is going out into the world. I haven't seen it, can't yet." And then says, also missing from the article is Lively's demand for an unearned producer credit and coveted PGA mark, a demand that Wayfarer and Baldoni were forced to concede under duress as documented internally. And this is a document. I can't read that all, but that's the document in the complaint. Paragraph 29 says, moreover, the article fails to address the fact that Baldoni was systematically sidelined from marketing of his own film. From the very beginning, Baldoni had insisted on marketing the film with a focus on domestic violence and its survivors, a message that was integral to the film's purpose. Yet Lively drastically limited its input and deliberately steered the promotional campaign away from a societal message. I can speculate a bit here on why I think that she did this, because this seems, by the way that he's painting it here, it seems like what happened was she saw and this as an opportunity to get her brand up because of the nature of the movie, domestic violence, everything. She's a woman. I'm guessing this is what he's trying to paint here. He's saying that because of the fact that she's a woman, etc., that she tried to make it seem to hug a lot of the limelight coming from the movie and just move Justin to the side. That's my guess here. I'm not sure. I don't think that's there's nothing to show that that's what he's saying. It's just my observations. Further underpinning Baldoni's role, Lively initially refused to permit its attendance at the film's premiere. Only after significant pressure did she reluctantly agree to allow Baldoni and Wayfarer team to attend, but under humiliating conditions. The Wayfarer team and and their families, including Baldoni and Heath, were segregated from the main cast, barred from the exclusive after party, and forced to organize their own event at the additional cost. Baldoni's participation on the red carpet was cut short, and his family and friends were confined to a makeshift holding area. Were confined to a makeshift holding area in the basement before being escorted into a separate theater after Lively's departure. Not only had Lively stolen the film, but she also robbed Baldoni and his PR and his team of any genuine opportunity to celebrate their hard work. Nothing. Jane Abel and more discussions with Jane Abel and Justin Baldoni says here, but nothing we can't get through together. This film will be a successful. She's already promoted heavily, so if she backs away now, it looks worse on her. Not, and you just have to focus on the bigger picture, not of how the movie is going to change the game for you and the studio. And Justin resign. I'm guessing he's resigning. He says, just find ways to keep me busy when she gets everyone together. Obviously, if the whole cast is making content together, that's her trying to clue people onto there being an issue. Everything she does is calculated, yet also manic. This is intense. Attempting. So Jen Abel responds with, "I hear you. We are already ahead of this with Sony, who has our back here. I feel good about that, and they understand the larger issues. If fans start poking holes, that doesn't benefit Sony either." But then he responds with, "She doesn't wanna be the bad guy, so she'll find a way to say it without saying it." And Jen responds with, "And that's why we'll stay ahead of it." Justin says, attempting to rewrite history, and like, I'm not the one who developed this and spent 5 years trying to make it. Like, and like, there's an issue with me. It's just mean and hurtful, and she knows exactly what she's doing. So now I'm guessing here, but he's painting her as a mean girl. He's basically saying that she's acting like a mean girl, basically. And Justin did this is Justin in hospital. Speaking with the editors, he's saying. Says, infection in my spine, pretty serious. Great doctors and caught it early. Had a feeling my body is done. Too much stress. Will be in hospital probably until Tuesday now. Then IV antibiotics via a PIC line for 6 weeks, which means I can't travel. Ari Garfield so happy he liked it. Editor says, damn, that then just take care of yourself. If Blake is so determined to handle the marketing on the movie, then just let her. Perfect. Time to look out for number one. All of this is showing is that they were just letting Blake do what she need to do. That after everything I'm seeing, discussions after discussions, is all about letting Blake do what she what she needs to do. If you think about it, just Baldoni goes on in a message here saying, if you think about it, we didn't even finish our director's cut because she intervened. So ideally, at some point, we can take a week and all just do it together for ourselves, but that opens up a can of worms. So we will need to let this play out for a while before we pull that card, and your door will be knocked on. The amount of women who feel seen that is reaching people all over the world. That men are remembering their own traumas and having conversations with their partners. That's why we did this, and it worked. Still the dream team. Editor says, incredible. That's the best news. Editor one says, exactly. That's the most important thing. And they continue on the conversation. It says here. sorry, sorry about that. Something in my tongue. My tongue is cold up for some reason. All right, so it says here too late, and I talked earlier and agreed we just couldn't be in the same room with Blake. The last day to get our tickets was August 2nd. Editor 2 says we'll be loving all the red carpet looks from you, Justin. Justin responds with long story, but we won't be in the same room. I was asked to not even come to the premiere. Damn, I can figure it out. Editor 2 says I'm glad I'm glad you're going. You did all the work. Editor 1 says that was the main reason we didn't go, because we were under the impression that you wouldn't be there. So they didn't even go because they were thinking that he was already cut out. Damn. Justin says, well, if you decide to change your mind last minute, let me know and let's figure it out together. I'm gonna be there. That's just different timing and holding areas and theaters, all the things you can imagine. It's still a film. It will be very hard for me to sit and watch the final film for the first time at the premiere. Just cheer for us when our names come up. Sending all love, says Editor 2. But Justin Baldoni says, okay, yeah, I haven't seen it either. And then Editor 2 says crazy times. I can't read all of this. I can't read what's said here. But I believe this is, I don't know who this is by. I think this is probably by Jennifer Abel and Justin discussing, but I don't know, so I'm not gonna I don't know who is discussing it there. Anyway, moving on to paragraph 30, says when Wayfarer and Baldoni hired Lively to appear in the film, they did not anticipate that she would execute a hostile takeover of the entire project. Lively's cynical abuse of sexual harassment allegations to assert unilateral control over every aspect of the production was both strategic and manipulative. Simultaneously, our public image suffered as a result of a series of high-profile blunders, which she tried to deflect by blaming the plaintiffs for the public's prying interest into the foibles of an A-list celebrity. This is nothing but an excuse. Fame is a double-edged sword, but Lively's tactics here are unconscionable. Alongside the Times, she orchestrated a malicious attack on the reputations and careers and personal lives of plaintiffs, subjecting them to public humiliation, threats, and vitriol. This lawsuit seeks to hold the Times accountable for its role in this defamation campaign, but the plaintiffs are not done. There are other bad actors involved, and make no mistake, this will not be the last lawsuit. I can't read that. I can't see that. I can't see what's being written here. But they are picking California as the main venue for this case, and we're now going to be reading over the facts of the common to all causes of action. So these are the facts that they're going to be responding to in regards to. Sorry about that. Need some water. So these are these are the facts to common to all causes of action. It says Lively uses unsubstantiated claims to bully Wayfarer and Baldoni in an effort to take over the film. In or about early 2019, Baldoni, through its literary agent, contacted the author of the book on which the film is based. He expressed a deep interest in adapting the book into a feature-length motion picture that aligned with its history of impact storytelling. Baldoni envisioned a film that would shed light on the struggles of domestic violence survivors, amplify their voices, and inspire societal change. driven by its unwavering commitment and often at significant personal sacrifice. Baldoni ensured that the film stayed true to his vision, ultimately achieving its purpose. On or about May 8th, 2019, Wayfarer secured an option for the book's rights with the intent of creating a film that would bring critical attention on the widespread issue of intimate partner violence. Over the next 5 years of development, Baldoni and Wayfarer maintained a strong and collaborative relationship with the book's author. With the rights of the book secured and a plan to finance the project, Wayfarer committed to producing the film. Baldoni, whose passion and creative vision were central to the project, would direct and star in it. Wayfarer partnered with Sony to co-finance and distribute the film. That agreement included Wayfarer's and Baldoni's assistance, a requirement that 1% of the film proceeds be donated to survivors of domestic violence. That 1% ultimately earmarked for the organization No More, with which Baldoni had wanted to partner as early as to September 2022. Not bad. On or about December 31st, 2022, Lively agreed to take on the lead role of Lily Bloom. As part of subsequent negotiations, Lively was granted an executive producer credit, a title often associated with talent of her stature. Wayfarer did not request that Lively contribute to the film in any capacity beyond her performance and this credit. Lively takes over the wardrobe. It says here, on or about May 15, 2023, principal photography of the film commenced in New Jersey. During pre-production, Lively began to assert control over aspects of the film beyond her role as an actor and outside the scope of her contractual entitlements. While lead actors are sometimes granted approval of a general look of their on-screen character, this authority typically does not include full control over wardrobe decisions without input from the director and producers. Nevertheless, Lively overstepped these boundaries, sidelining the production's costume designer, a seasoned professional with long-standing working relationship with Lively. Ignoring the director's vision for her character and disregarding the weeks spent by the entire team shopping and thoughtfully crafting a wardrobe in preparation for the filming, Lively would send hundreds of images to the film's costume designer during all hours of the evening, pointing them in the direction of the appearance she wanted for her character. The costume designer then had to reshop a wardrobe far exceeding the allocated budget, diverting time and resources. At one point, Lively insisted that her character had money and could afford a $5,000 shoes, which had been Baldoni rethinking the entire script that had been being worked on for well over a year. Let me read that again. Which had Baldoni rethinking the entire script. I accidentally went backwards. Let me get back to. Sorry about this, folks. Where was I? Hold up. Okay, there we are. It says, which had Baldoni rethinking the entire script that had been being worked on for well over a year and had been approved by both studios. Lively also several times refused to participate in the wardrobe fittings and at the production office, a mere 15 minutes away from Lively's Tribeca residence. Instead, she insisted that the costume department pack up the wardrobe department and deliver all her wardrobe items to her. Loading the wardrobe department on trucks and delivering them to Lively's residence for fittings added both time or to the production schedule and expense to the film. Two things productions work hard to avoid with careful planning. These demands were never mentioned at the contract negotiation phase and therefore were not included in the budget. Lively herself, having further obligation to the studios as executive producer, paid no mind to the budget and the months of planning that had already occurred. Even if Lively had the contractual authority to approve her character's wardrobe, which she did not, a grant of such authority would not and could not imply the right to blow up the film's budget with additional unanticipated costs. In an effort to maintain harmony at the start of the working relationship and to avoid further delays caused by wardrobe conflicts, Baldoni and the studio reluctantly allowed Lively full control over a wardrobe. This concession quickly proved regrettable. On the first day of the principal photography, paparazzi captured and published photos of Lively's in character wearing her self-selected wardrobe. These images were described as unflattering and sparked backlash from the film's distributor Sony. Baldoni received direct criticism from Sony, who voiced concerns about the impact of the photos on the film's public perception. Following these events, Baldoni approached Lively in our trailer to discuss the necessary wardrobe adjustments. The conversation, while professional, took considerable time and was later grossly misrepresented in Lively's CRD complaint. Falsely characterizing this exchange as lengthy outburst that delayed filming and caused the crew to wait for hours while Baldoni cried in Lively's dressing room. And this account, later published by the Times, is false. I mean, in context, even if he's saying that this wasn't an outburst, I can see this being an outburst. I can see this. That sounds a bit weird, but I can see it. I can see it being understandable as an outburst based on our actions leading up to this, in context. But that would obviously play into the hands of New York Times and the CRD complaint. But even if what I'm trying to say is that even if it wasn't an outburst, it's understandable why he would be upset that she is making all of these alterations without their consent. Although Baldoni, without proper planning, that goes against the budget. Although Baldoni did briefly tear up during the conversation, it was in response to what he believed was a genuine compliment from Lively, praising his work as a director and actor. Well, there we go then. So he did tear up. In hindsight, Baldoni recognized this is a manipulation tactic, likely intended to persuade him to continue allowing her unchecked control over the wardrobe decisions. Lively later leveraged this conversation in support of her allegations of harassment, alleging that Baldoni made inappropriate comments on her appearance. In reality, Baldoni was relaying the distributor's concerns and the widespread social media criticism regarding the wardrobe's failure to meet audience expectations, a sentiment Baldoni shared. This incident marked the beginning of troubling pattern of manipulative behavior by Lively. Number 2, Lively begins rewriting the script. During the paragraph 60 says, during a red carpet interview at the New York City celebrity premiere of the film, Lively stated the iconic rooftop scene, "My husband actually wrote it. Nobody knows that but you now." This revelation came as a surprise to the film's credited screenwriter, who, when later interviewed, graciously responded, "So if I'm being told that Ryan wrote that, then great. How wonderful. The screenwriter further acknowledged there was very little flourishes that I did not write. And if those flourishes came from Ryan, I think that's wonderful. This was also the first time plaintiffs learned that Reynolds, who had no formal role in the film's production, made unauthorized changes into the script in secret. Furthermore, Lively herself began altering the script daily. The frequency of Lively's revisions alarmed the producers, director, and studio, who anticipated that interference would persist every day of the shoot, and disrupt the production schedule. Each shooting day was already intricately planned, and her constant changes introduced significant stress on the production crew and financial strain. However, just weeks prior, Lively's husband Ryan Reynolds had aggressively berated Baldoni during a meeting at their penthouse in New York, accusing him of fat shaming Lively. Baldoni, in an effort to avoid further confrontation with Lively and Reynolds and rebuild rapport with his co-star, continued to bend to her will. So one thing I didn't notice there, because I did, they did make this allegation in the filing by the New York Times that he was fat shaming her. What I don't notice here is his refutation to say that didn't happen. He just says he's bending to her will. So did he fat shame her? I think that's maybe likely that he did, and the incident led to Ryan Reynolds stepping in. So I just thought I point that out, because I don't see him denying that he didn't fat shame her. So the biography 2 says Reynolds and Lively's inappropriate and humiliating berating of Baldoni, delivered perhaps intentionally as other celebrity friends were coming in and out of their penthouse, was prompted by Baldoni's reasonable inquiry into crucial information needed to ensure safety and avoid an injury in a scene. Baldoni, while training for a physically demanding scene, which his character Ryo would lift Lily, asked his trainer, who was introduced to him by Lively and oversaw his training for the film, how much Lively weighed. Baldoni, who suffers from back issues and has multiple bulging discs. Oh gosh, you're not doing much. Let me continue reading. Made the inquiry to ensure he could safely perform the lift without injury. Unfortunately, the trainer relayed this information to Lively, who then informed Reynolds. The confrontation that followed was so aggressive that Baldoni felt compelled to offer repeated apologies, despite his question being entirely reasonable and made in good faith. I wonder. So what was the question then? The question I'm guessing here must have been, how much do you weigh? Or that's probably the question that he asked, so that he maybe knows why he's lifting, etc. I don't know, but the question is not really expressed here. To what was said. Following this incident, Lively refused to perform the lift scene, even though it had already been rehearsed with a stunt double. In fact, Lively threatened to quit the production altogether despite her contractual obligations. Lively gave Baldoni an ultimatum to either cast someone else or work with her in the way she works. It was her way or the highway. Recasting would be detrimental to the production, sever Wayfarer's relationship with Sony, and cost millions. To highlight the effects of masterful gaslighting, Baldoni and Wayfarer also truly believed that in an effort to save herself from the backlash of being recast, Lively could leak that she felt fat shamed by Baldoni. which he thought would ruin his career. Notably, it appears he was not wrong, and despite his efforts to do everything her way, she still tried, continues to try, and arguably did, with the help of the Times, ruin his career, reputation, and well being. Beyond the script revisions, Lively extended her influence over the film to other areas, frequently challenging decisions and asserting control. She not only rewrote her own dialogue, but also made unilateral changes to other characters' lines, effectively altering the script on a broad scale. This pattern of interference continued to disrupt the production process, often causing stress, chaos, and delays. Over the months leading up to the film's release, Lively and her collaborators uh, consistently scrutinized interactions with Baldoni and employed tactics that fall squarely within the definition of gaslighting. This behavior pressured Sony, Baldoni, and Wayfarer into ceding control to Lively at every turn, resulting in her domination of every aspect of the film's production. Number three, Lively sets the stage for coercion by drafting a protection letter that intentionally misrepresents the nature of the conversation had between Baldoni and or Heath, and Lively demands Wayfarer's party sign for Lively to return to work after the industry strikes. That's a long ass title. Just want to say that. Um, Paragraph 6 says principal paragraphy began on May 15, 2024. From mid June to early November 2023, production was suspended due to the industry guild strikes. When the strikes ended on November 9, 2023, production was eager to resume filming and make up for lost time. That same day, however, Wayfarer received an unsettling and unexpected email from Lively through her counsel, containing a 17-point list of non-negotiable conditions that must be met before Lively would return to work. Though Wayfarer disagreed as to the basis of the for requesting these conditions, which insinuated those demands were the result of inappropriate behavior by Baldoni and Eve. The terms were agreeable, and some were already in place. For example, Lively demanded that an intimacy coordinator be present at all times when Lively was on set. In fact, an intimacy coordinator had already been engaged during the first half of production, so Wayfarer took no issue with this request. Contrary to Lively's assertion, it was she who refused to meet with the intimacy coordinator to plan out these scenes, as we read earlier, putting Baldoni in an awkward position of meeting with the intimacy coordinator alone and later relaying the sex scenes suggestions to Lively in the intimacy coordinator's absence, not only defeating the purpose, but resulting in accusations by the Times that before shooting began, Baldoni wanted to add sex scenes that Lively considered gratuitous. In fact, these scenes were proposed by the intimacy coordinator. This is well documented in handwritten notes Baldoni took during the meetings with the intimacy coordinator. Oh, I wish he didn't, because that's self-service. That's hearsay. Those notes will be hearsay. I wish he had like some kind of contract or something like that they had agreed to to basically give over, because him having notes is just it's self-serving hearsay. It's not gonna really do much to sway in anti-slapp if he was a presenter. Okay, that's but he relays the message again to show that the intimacy coordinator was aware of the communications. Baldoni stated handwritten notes from his meetings with the intimacy coordinator, which again Lively declined attending, were read to Lively at her penthouse, where she insisted she and Baldoni would need to write the sex scenes together. As it was, the sex scenes were not written, and it was always Baldoni's intention for them to be written, and with input from both the intimacy coordinator and Lively. The female gaze that Lively distorts in her CRD complaint, which the Times then publishes in response to a proposal from the intimacy coordinator that Ryle not orgasm after he satisfied Lily. Lively remarked, "I would be mortified if that happened to me." To which Baldoni, following Lively's lead in what seemed like an attempt to connect and develop their characters, remarked that those have been some of the most beautiful moments with my wife and I. Lively again distorts this both in the protections for return to production she made Wayfarer, Heath, and Baldoni sign, and in the CRD complaint, which the Times publishes as fact without any investigation whatsoever. First, this suggestion did not originate from Baldoni, and Lively knew this. Second, it was Lively who first personalized the scenes, and third, perhaps most importantly, they were writing scenes for their characters. Lively claims that Baldoni made her feel unsafe when he used the word sexy while discussing the wardrobe adjustment, when in fact Lively herself had previously indicated both verbally and in a text message shown below that she wanted the character's wardrobe to be sexier. For a scene in which all the characters wore onesies, Lively opted to wear a large coat over hers, obscuring the outfit. Baldoni, as the film's director, sorry about that. Let me start again. Baldoni, as the film director, suggested she remove the coat, explaining that the look would be sexier without it. Lively took offense to the comment and appeared upset, interpreting it negatively rather than creative direction. Feeling he had upset her, Baldoni apologized, despite having made a professional suggestion as director. Notably, in a separate text exchange, Lively herself used the word "sexy" to describe one of her character's outfits, while advocating for her own wardrobe choice, and an inconsistency that undermines the basis of her complaint. This is the exchange that we went through earlier. That's the text message exchange that we went through earlier. Lively established what language is acceptable to her and what is not at the very outset of the relationship. Just 2 days into filming, to use this language herself, then in turn make a note of each instance when a director uses the same language, also to describe wardrobe and character, is at best a double standard. To generate a list of demands that insinuate he and his business partner acted inappropriately and refused to work unless they agreed not to do it again is calculating and even extortionistic. But to then use Wayfarer, Baldoni, and Heath's agreement to not do something they already did not do, were not doing, and had no intention of doing, as the basis to file a non-public CRD complaint against them and release it to the public herself in order to ruin their reputations is defamation. The Times was directly complicit in this. Lively also established very early that it was acceptable to be present while Lively was breastfeeding both Heath and Baldoni and have children. and are comfortable around breastfeeding mothers, and Lively seemed equally comfortable. In fact, Baldoni's wife co-founded a company that makes a breastfeeding garment, a prototype that originated with his mother when he was a baby. And as revealed in a text message exchange between Baldoni and Lively, less than 2 weeks into filming, Lively invited Baldoni into her trailer to rehearse lines while she was pumping breast milk. Lively now alleges in the CRD complaint that Baldoni and or Heath would enter a makeup trailer of their own volition while she was breastfeeding. Notably, breastfeeding was an activity she often conducted openly in the presence of both Baldoni and Heath, including during production meetings. And this is the text conversation that we read earlier. In the paragraph 72 states, in the CRD complaint published in part by the Times, Lively suggests Heath walked in her trailer unannounced while in a state of undress and topless, which is false. Heath was invited into our trailer along with a female producer, Baldoni, and a Sony representative for a meeting requested by Lively. Mr. Heath arrived first to see if Lively was ready for the meeting, and after knocking and being invited in, saw that Lively was breastfeeding. She was not topless. She was having makeup removed from her collarbone while fully covered. Heath asked if they should return at a later time. Lively said no, they could move forward with the meeting as initially planned, and would meet them after she finished removing makeup. Roughly two weeks later, Lively announced that she thought that Heath had seen Heath make eye contact with her. Heath apologized immediately. Sorry, let me start again. Heath immediately apologized and said he hadn't realized he looked her way. In response, to which Lively remarked, "I know you weren't trying to cop a look." A reference to this incident conveniently showed up on the document months later, distorted like the others and out of context in a list of that the Times published as fact. By the time Wayfarer received the protections of return to production document, Wayfarer had invested millions of dollars, completed half of the film, and Lively as the lead, and incurred substantial costs in the preparation to resume production immediately following the strikes. However, instead of returning to work as anticipated, they received Lively's list of demands. In the spirit of ensuring Lively felt comfortable on set, Wayfarer promptly agreed to her terms, despite disagreeing with the insinuations underlying them. Neither Wayfarer, Heath, nor Baldoni had engaged in any of the behavior alluded to in the return to production document, nor did they plan to. They thought that was the end of it, and they were ready to move ahead and make a great film. It was agreed that filming would resume on January 5th, 2024. On the evening of January 2024, Baldoni, Heath, and producers Todd Black and Alex Sachs, a representative of Sony, and film's first AD, were invited to Lively and Reynolds' penthouse in New York City. They arrived eager to discuss plans for the next day's filming, prepared for their production materials. Instead, they were blindsided by Lively and Reynolds, who presented a list of grievances that were both unanticipated and troubling. Reynolds launched into a tirade berating Baldoni in what Baldoni later described as a traumatic encounter, stating that he had never been spoken to like that in his life. Reynolds demanded an apology to Lively for actions that were mischaracterized and demonstrably false. When Baldoni resisted apologizing for what he had not done, Reynolds became further enraged. Everyone, including the producer, Lively, had asked production to engage, and a representative of Sony that was in attendance left that meeting in shock. The producer offered that in his 40-year career, he had never seen anyone speak to someone like that in a meeting. The Sony representative mentioned that she would often think of that meeting, and her one regret is that she didn't stop Reynolds from berating of Baldoni. I actually want to know if this was the same. It doesn't seem like it's the same incident as the fat shaming one, but this different incident, this it does seem interesting because I don't remember this in the original complaint. On the very first page of CRD complaint, Lively inaccurately claims that a list of 30 items were agreed upon during this meeting. This assertion is categorically false. The 30-point list is strategically positioned to appear as if it was a standalone document. However, no such document was ever presented to Baldoni, the Wayfarer team, or to their knowledge anyone else, whether during the meeting or any other time, and therefore could not be agreed to. In reality, many of these items were encountered for the first time in the CRD complaint itself, and included references to highly disturbing events that never occurred. The repeated use of the phrase "no more" before each demand falsely suggests that these alleged incidents had previously taken place and needed to cease. This implication is not only misleading but entirely untrue. Baldoni and Heath left the meeting deeply unsettled by the implications of Lively and Reynolds' behavior and the power dynamics at play. Faced with mounting pressure and weighing the financial implications of what shutting down a film halfway through production would mean, Wayfarer made the difficult decision to resume production and finish the film despite fears that Lively was intentionally manipulating facts for her own gain. The stakes were extraordinarily high. Financiers had invested substantial resources. Hundreds of cast and crew members had endured months without work due to the strikes, and nearly 5 years of development had gone into bringing the film to life. Filming resumed without further grievances or references to prior disputes from Lively, or the fact that Lively concedes in a CRD complaint. The parties, the film has been a resounding success. However, the lasting effects of Lively's allegations have left Baldoni uneasy. He and Wayfarer continue to make considerable concessions throughout production, all in the interest of successfully delivering an outstanding film. Now we're going to IV. Lively takes over editing, fires the film editor and composer, and creates her own version of the film at Wayfarer's expense, while the wife's director continues to edit his cut of the film. I wonder why she did this. I actually want to know what the motives would be for doing this. The Directors Guild of America, she was given the executive producer credit, so maybe she was acting in that capacity. Who knows? The Director of Guilds of America mandates a 10-week protected period during which the director of a feature film is entitled to privately edit the film and assemble their director's cut. This period is considered sacred, providing the director with uninterrupted time to creatively shape the final product, an opportunity to experiment and take risks and refine until the film fully reflects their artistic vision. For Baldoni, this period represents the pinnacle of the filmmaking process, a time to immerse himself in the creative craft, free from external influences. Only unfortunately, he was denied this essential experience. Lively requested to join Baldoni in the editing bay as a seasoned professional with over 20 years of experience in the entertainment industry, and having grown up in a family deeply involved in the field. Lively was fully aware of the implications of her request. In fact, her request explicitly acknowledged that it infringed upon Baldoni's protected period. Nonetheless, in the aftermath of a serious false allegations she had leveled against the production, Baldoni, Wayfarer, and Sony reluctantly agreed to grant her access to the editing bay for 2 days. Notably, despite allegations that Baldoni made her uncomfortable, Lively sought to spend prolonged, close time with him and come in the confined and collaborative space of the editing bay. By the way, guys, if you guys know, if any of you guys know what an executive producer does, let me know in the chat, because I've been trying to think of of what they might of what they might be responsible for in the film. So if anyone actually does know that, let me know in the chat. And also, don't forget to like this stream if you have made it this far. Don't forget to like it if you haven't done it already. And also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have enjoyed what you've seen so far today. So yeah. Anyway, let's go back into the reading. Paragraph A2 states, what began as a 2-day collaboration extended into 10 days, during which Lively sought to work alone in the editing bay without Baldoni. Despite Baldoni incorporating 7 pages of our notes into his own edit at the very onset and consistently keeping her involved in every subsequent edit, Lively expressed dissatisfaction with mere collaboration, asserting that she too deserved the opportunity to see her creative vision realized. She requested exclusive time with the editors. In response, Wayfarer flew Baldoni's editor to New York to assist Lively in the process. Eventually, Lively fired the film's editors, replacing them with her own choice, specifically on editor often used by Reynolds. She also fired the film's award-winning composer, replacing him with composers from Reynolds' recent project. Against repeated objections, Lively created her own cut of the film at Wayfarer's and Sony's expense. Sony later informed Wayfarer that Lively would not promote the film unless her demands were met. Believing that Lively's edits would simply supplement Baldoni's work, Baldoni continued refining its director's cut. However, faced with the possibility of Lively refusing to promote the film or approve any related marketing material such as trailers, posters, and social media posts, a scenario that would have catastrophic implications, Wayfarer and Baldoni felt compelled to acquiesce. This included funding a friend and family screening of a version of the movie they had not approved or even seen, entirely at Lively's insistence. Having already invested millions of dollars doing along with years of time, energy, and personal sacrifice, Wayfarer and Baldoni were left with no viable alternatives. Wayfarer and Sony found themselves in an unprecedented and uncomfortable predicament. 2 competing versions of the film, created by 2 different individuals, one of whom have no contractual or creative right to edit the film, let alone produce their own cut. Faced with Lively's threat to withhold promotion of the film, the studio reluctantly agreed to do an official audience test of both versions, Lively's cut and Baldoni's director's cut, once again at Wayfarer's and Sony's expense. This decision was made with the understanding that Lively had agreed with Sony that if Baldoni's director's cut tested higher, she would drop the matter and fully cooperate, and Baldoni could proceed proceed finishing the film without Lively's editorial interferences. Unsurprisingly, that despite Baldoni's cuts scoring significantly higher with audiences and the film's target demographic, Lively reneged on her promise. Oh, okay. She insisted that our cut to the be the version to release to the public. So, wow, sour grapes, man. Even going so far to as to claim that the author of the book would also refuse to promote the film if Lively's version was not chosen. Under immense pressure, Sony and Wayfarer once again conceded. Why are you doing this? You don't have to do this. You guys, oh my gosh. Lively demands a producer credit and an undeserved PGA mark. Under the continued threat that in spite of a contractual obligation, Lively would not promote the film or approve marketing materials, Wayfarer agreed at Sony's behest to give Lively a producer credit, but commands did not stop there. Lively later sought a coveted PGA mark on a producer credit, which a certified designation license by Producers Guild of America to identify producers who have performed the majority of the producing functions on a motion picture. Neither Baldoni nor Wayfarer felt Lively fully fulfilled the requisite criteria to earn this mark. Lively demanded that Baldoni, Heath, and other producers and department heads send letters to the PGA in support of our certification for the PGA mark. Despite unanimous recognition of the absurdity and the uncertain nature of what appeared to be an attempt or at coercion, Sony and other parties ultimately acquiesced and submitted the letters of support. Why would you do that? However, because Lively did not perform the duties of a producer, therefore, in the provisional opinion of the studios, did not qualify for a PGA mark, a distinction highly valued and taken seriously within the industry. Wayfarer and Baldoni refused to misrepresent her contributions to the film. Despite having conceded on nearly every other demand to this point, they believe it's unjust and unethical to falsely represent to the PGA that she had fulfilled the requisite producing responsibilities. Lively, in turn, instructed Sony to tell Wayfarer and Baldoni that any goodwill left between us is done. Oh, wow. Eventually, in the face of persistent threats levied against Wayfarer and Baldoni, they were left with little choice but to draft and sign a letter on Lively's behalf. Upon doing so, Heath provided a copy of the letter to Wayfarer's lawyers, accompanied by a statement indicating that they signed the letter under duress. And this is the letter. I can't read that; it's too small of a font. Lively proceeded to make good on her threat. B. Lively's successful bullying tactics resulted in Baldoni's exile from his own film. Consistent with her pattern of vindictiveness as the premiere of the film approached, Lively instructed Sony that she and the cast would not participate in any marketing or promotion of the film alongside Baldoni. Oh, hey Pam, how you doing, Pam? And she says, "Hey Heinz, this case is insidious to me. It is to me as well. I mean, just seeing how much concessions that the production had made in order to accommodate Blake Lively in this particular case is eye-opening, because I didn't think that they will bend ever so much. But yeah, welcome to the stream. Thanks Pam for joining. Everyone say hi to Pam. I hope everyone is doing okay. Let me know how you're feeling in the chat. She made certain that Baldoni was removed from all artwork of the film for the film. Posters included and stripped him of his a film by credit. Furthermore, Lively and Reynolds unfollowed him on social media, and as did the author of the book, someone with whom Baldoni had maintained a 5-year personal relationship, and for whom Baldoni created this opportunity, and other cast members, and creating the false impression that Baldoni had done something wrong. It became clear that Lively was working diligently to contrive a narrative that would explain why she took over the film and exiled Baldoni. Baldoni had no intention of ever making his information in public, ever. He promoted the film as originally intended, gave Lively full credit and praise, and wanted the film to succeed. He wanted to move on. Lively, however, refused to let it go. Baldoni later received word that during the premiere of his movie Deadpool and Wolverine, Reynolds approached Baldoni's agent at William Morris Endeavor and demanded that the agent drop Baldoni. Wow. The wielding of power and influence became undeniable. The Baldoni and Wayfarer grew increasingly fearful that what I'll start again. Let me start that again. Baldoni and Wayfarer grew increasingly fearful of what Lively and Reynolds were capable of, as their actions seemed aimed at destroying Baldoni's career and personal life. Lively systematically excluded Baldoni from all marketing and promotional efforts with her and the cast for the film. He was not invited to any of the cast promotional events, car screenings, premieres, photo shoots, or other cast campaigns. Baldoni was marginalized from the marketing process and left in the dark about the purported marketing plan allegedly created by Lively and Sony, which was later referenced in Lively's CRD complaint as agreed by all. While in Sweden celebrating his wife's birthday, Baldoni was informed that Lively demanded he did not attend the film's premiere on August 9th, 2024. Lively further threatened that if Baldoni attended the premiere, she and the majority of the cast would boycott. Wow. It remained unclear what Lively had communicated to or promised the cast, but they now refused to attend if Baldoni was present. The fact that Sony advised Wayfarer to concede underscores Lively and Reynolds' immense power and influence. Baldoni and Wayfarer refuses to succumb to the bullying tactics aimed at preventing them from attending the premiere of their film, a project that they had financed and produced and owned. This threat marked the culmination of the year-long campaign of intimidation and harassment. Although objectively egregious and shocking, the Wayfarer team had unfortunately grown accustomed to the bullying, fully aware of the immense power this couple wielded and far-reaching extent of their influence. However, they refused to concede to this demand. Just days before the film's premiere, Baldoni was still unsure if he would even be allowed to attend. His friends and family, many traveling out from outside of New York, were left in limbo, unable to finalize travel plans or book flights. Finally, through Sony, Wayfarer persuaded Lively to permit Baldoni and Wayfarer team, along with their friends and family, to attend, though only under demeaning and humiliating conditions. They were relegated to separate theater to view the film, required to arrive at a different time than the rest of the cast, and instructed to leave the venue immediately after Lively arrived. Baldoni was excluded from the official celebrity after party, despite it being an event paid for by Wayfarer. As a result, Baldoni had to quickly organize and personally fund a separate after party for himself and the Wayfarer team, forcing the company to cover the costs for two events, one for Lively and one for their own friends, family, crew, and team. Upon arrival, Baldoni began participating in the red carpet photos and interviews. However, the efforts were abruptly cut short when it was conveyed that Lively was on our way, and he was instructed to stop immediately. He and his family were quickly ushered away, security personnel acting as though there was a risk of escape, escorted Baldoni's group to the basement of the building. Wow. They were confined to makeshift areas surrounded by by concession stand stock, with only fold-out tables and chairs arranged in a square. Damn. Surrounded by close friends and family, soda bottles, and lots of love. The irony of being held in the basement on what was arguably one of the most important nights of Baldoni's career thus far was not lost on anyone. Once the main theatre was deemed clear of Lively and our guest, Baldoni and his group were ushered and into a separate theatre to view the film. At the conclusion of the screening, they were again quickly escorted by security out of the building to avoid even a chance of interaction with Lively and our guests. The Wayfarer after party, held separately from the celebrity event, was a dry gathering, reflecting the values and the themes of that Wayfarer stands for. It was attended by the entire Wayfarer team from Los Angeles and their friends and family. The atmosphere and tone of the Wayfarer after party were aligned with Baldoni's vision for the film, focusing on the celebration and gratitude. In the meantime, Baldoni was sidelined as Lively and Sony pressed forward with his original promotional strategy for the film. This plan outlined its initial proposal to Sony years prior, shared with Lively, and communicated numerous times to both Sony and Lively, centered on a partnership with the organization No More, founded in 2013. No More is a global initiative aimed at raising awareness, inspiring action, and sparking conversations to end domestic violence and sexual assault. Baldoni collaboration with the organization began in 2022 and held deep personal significance. Staying true to his purpose for undertaking the film, Baldoni prioritized amplifying the voices of survivors of domestic violence. His efforts reflected the heart of the film, its story, and its profound impact on audiences. He returned to the core reason of embarking on the project in the first place, his initial outreach to the author of It Ends With Us 5 years earlier. Focusing on the film's message and its potential to create positive change, Baldoni poured himself into ensuring its success despite the mounting challenges. These genuine efforts aimed at amplifying the voices of survivors impacted by the film were later mischaracterized and weaponized against Baldoni. The Times, failing to do its due diligence before publishing the article, describes the genuine efforts to bring attention to a serious issue as part of a calculated campaign to destroy Lively's reputation, and in doing so, participating in destroying the plaintiff's lives. I mean, I will say this. It seems like this has blown up in Blake Lively's face. Honestly, like there's no way you can read this complaint and not go away with the, just by looking at the fact that this guy had all of this in mind, and to be frozen out, and on top of being frozen out by by Blake Lively when the promotion didn't go the way that Blake had hoped for, because she went off script by on the promotional strategy to do her own thing, which is kind of emblematic of what we've read here. Even despite her doing that, she still finds a way to blame it on Baldoni, which is it's actually sad when you actually consider it, with all things considered. It's actually pretty sad that it's turned out like this. Honestly, Pam says Blake and her husband wanted to take over the movie. Yes, it seems like so. Is it? Yeah, on 100%. I mean, I can only imagine it was to further Blake Lively's career as a producer. I could imagine that that's the motive that she went and do all this with. But I mean, it will be interesting to see how the Times respond to this. I mean, if they're not responding with they are going to respond with anti-slap. But I think there's enough here to actually pass anti-slap, if I'm being honest. But I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know the threshold for beating anti-slap, but I need to read the course of action, the statements that he considers to be liable, to at least advance to at least advance this lawsuit. Anyway, C. Baldoni forced to hire public Baldoni to force to hire. Let me start again. Sorry about that. Baldoni forced to hire crisis public relations to combat Lively's negative press push. In direct response to Lively's oppressive tactics as described herein, Wayfarer and Baldoni retained Nathan and Tag as a protective measure ahead of the film's premiere. Contrary to the Times portrayal, Tag's engagement found exclusively on defensive strategy and fact verification. Though as is standard industry practice, Tag prepared for the worst case scenarios based on Lively and Reynolds' prior behavior. No aggressive tactics, for example, astroturfing, were ever employed. Tag maintained this defensive position throughout its engagement, verifying facts and correcting misinformation without retaliation, a strategy endorsed by Baldoni and Wayfarer in an effort to reprioritize the film's significant social message. Makes sense. Meanwhile, Lively's publicist Sloan launched a negative press push against Baldoni, at least as early as August 1st, 2024. Tag was made aware of Sloan planting an unfavorable, false, and defamatory story about Baldoni's Baha'i faith to page 6, whatever that says. I don't know what that says. Sloan proceeded to feed false stories to the Daily Mail and the New York Post containing allegations that Baldoni was a sexual predator. Sloan would also paint a false story alleging that there were multiple HR complaints during production. This in addition to Sloan weaponizing Baldoni and Wayfarer hiring Tag and Nathan. I'm guessing Tag is Jennifer Abel. And that's what we read earlier. These are all what we read earlier. Okay. Paragraph 102 states, in spite of Sloane's efforts to lambast Baldoni and Nathan, it was Lively who ultimately stirred up our own public ridicule. Um, just give the reference there. Of all the articles um that was stirred up by Library Lively. Paragraph 103 states, indeed, while Baldoni sought to focus on the film's central premise, Lively incensed audiences with seemingly flippant and tone-deaf remarks, encouraging viewers to grab your friends and wear your florals. Embarrassed by this self-induced backlash, Lively now seeks to vilify Baldoni in dubious attempt to resuscitate a public image. While the Times thrust allegations of an offensive smear campaign concocted by plaintiffs, the incomplete and misleading evidence supplied by Lively and on which the Times purports to rely proffers a warped view of reality. Setting aside the unscrupulous means by which the cited communications were obtained, the Times, as with Lively's CRD complaint, they deliberately take these communications out of context to bolster a fallacious narrative designed in concert with Lively to quash plaintiffs. When viewed in full context, these unpicked doctored communications lose their manufactured impropriety and disproves Lively's allegations. We showed that earlier. What was excluded and what was included in the texts. I can't read all of that. I don't believe we read this one earlier, but I cannot read. It's too small of a font to read out. So this one I can't read. So this one says, we can't write it down to him. We can't write. We will destroy her. We will go to this. We will do this. We will do this. You will do this. Of course not. But I told him that's not the point of talking though. Of talking through, and that part was excluded. He has to look at it as an information document for us to be armed with. That's all. Imagine if a document saying all the things he wants ends up in the wrong hands. The work, this part here was excluded. It says here, the work is not in the document. The work is the fucking crisis. This part here was also excluded. In response to that, it says, if it's any consolation, he's like this with everything. Over things, stresses, anxiety. He just needs to be educated on how this process works, and that was excluded. It says here, we can bury anyone, but I can't write that to him. I'll be very tough. He says this part here wasn't excluded. I do remember reading this part, that I'll be very tough in the New York Times article. That part was not excluded. I do remember that. That part being included in the full text messages in this part. So the red part here wasn't excluded. But I can't write that to him. It'll be very tough. But this part here was excluded. It says here, and also, as you know, this is twisting, turning, because we don't know their movies. No, their moves. That's what it says here. Sorry. This thing is hard to read. This thing is very hard to read. But don't worry, I get it. I may just drink half a tank of Pepto Bismol, and I will be ready for the call. Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And maybe that's how you approach the Baha'i thing. That we had no idea that of this approach, and why we can't proactive, as we have no idea what she'll come out with. Done. Pepto mixed with espresso, and you are good to go. So they're joking here, basically. Um, he also can't. He also cannot come across as a victim here. We are walking a very fine line. Exactly. He can't look guilty either. By shying away from this stuff. All of that was excluded. I can't read the rest. I can't read all of this. But what's interesting to me from those text messages, especially the parts that were excluded from that, is the not just the joking nature, but also the fact that they were not going to act at all. That's what stands out to me. That they know that they were in some kind of in some kind of a minefield. That whatever they would do would blow up in their face, likely. So that's what stuck. That's what stuck out to me the most. From these text messages. I can read these ones. It says here, no request though. I I think the people, I think people are bored. It's like the majority of socials are so pro Justin. I don't even agree with half of them. That was included, but this part was excluded. It says here, oh, I agree. I'm just anxious per usual. Lad reached out to Justin's old assistant. You're okay. It's been too much. Press is too chaotic. I told you. People magazine messaged me. They message me again, say to say that they're getting a radio silence on everything. That was the request he sent through. Oh my gosh, nothing to me. And then Roger Freeman from Showbiz 411 called me, but I'm leaving it. Hello, Roger. Oh my gosh. So basically, these conversations are now painting. It's basically it's basically showing that that they did not even engage at all with the press that was going on, even though they were getting calls for comments. Basically, yes, Jaden reached out. Et, who just annoys me, and I saw that Katie said limited pickup, but I've honestly not seen any from those two places. Just keep on giving nothing, not one thing from those pieces. I mean, that was just a lot of work. I'm just talking everyone off the effing ledge for those two pieces. Literally, I feel like I've been hit by a truck. I feel like I've been hit by a truck, and then after the weekend, people are going to move completely past. It's boring now. Nothing came out for anyone. I bet you have that constant. I don't know what that says. Constant anxiety. That's what it says. Okay. So they exclude all of this. They exclude all of that communication, and included this part that says he doesn't realize how lucky he is right now. We need the press to be on him. Just effing lucky. The whispering in the ear, the sexual connotations like Jesus effing Christ. Other members feeling uncomfortable watching. If I mean there's just so much. And then the next part is included. It's excluded. Sorry, it's excluded. It says doesn't matter if that's not true. I know. Don't think that they get that. They think the truth wins. No, it doesn't. And they're laughing about it. And I'm like, we're dealing with a psychopath who's literally called you a sexual predator. Let's all be happy with difficult. So all of this is excluded. The jokes that they're making there is excluded. I have it on text messages, by the way. Unbelievable. Let's all be really happy with difficult. And he told him we took out misogynist. Leslie can't possibly believe that. Let's give it a day to calm, and let's call Jamie together tomorrow, and we can explain to him a few things together. And socials are really ramping up in his favor. She must be furious. It's actually because it just shows you have people really want. I can't read the rest of that. Wow. Wow. All of this was excluded. If this doesn't beat the anti-slap, I don't know what. I will be surprised. If there's because I think he has enough here to beat the anti-slap. If I'm being honest with you, should the New York Times invoke it, which I believe they are going to invoke it. If this doesn't, he has enough to show that there was more than, and that there was falsity being deployed by the New York Times with that much context. Wow. It changes it changes the story pretty much. In the article, the Times writes, Lively's filing includes excerpts excerpts from thousands of pages of text messages and emails that she obtained through a subpoena. These and other documents were reviewed by the New York Times. However, the Times failed to review and or investigate the plethora of communications demonstrating that plaintiffs had zero intention of smearing Lively, and every intention of simply promoting the film and its message. Another message here from Justin saying, "Good morning, team. So I was thinking about the response to this weekend, and I feel that like what we should do is make sure to emphasize the voices of the survivors. It's gonna be a lot of buzz, how much the money the movie made, but I want to be the one that I want to be the one that always direct the back to the survivors. So I would love to come up with some sort of video or carousel of messages from survivors and the response to the film. And these are the responses. Damn. Let me just continue reading. Let me read from this part. Melissa Nathan says, completely unsolicited story from TMZ. Blake has a huge ego. JB was liked by many of his cast and crew, and this is her ego being bruised. The post has a similar tip. Not any of us, obviously. That was Jennifer Abel. Totally not from us. These are clearly people on set coming out to defend JB, which is good, and we just let them do their thing. The reporter told me that her rep is working overtime. Yeah, so that we read that earlier. We read this part earlier. Moving on. Yes, you did not do anything you did not do any of these. We didn't do any of these. This is all organic. Crazy, stupid, really stupid. And I cannot believe she did not mention working with a shelter or DV. None of this is your fault. It is breathtaking how tone deaf it was. A good one to boost. That's so nice. I will send across to the team. So that's a conversation between Melissa and Justin Baldoni, I'm guessing. There's a lot of messages here with of all going through and showing that it's not actually them that was smearing Blake Lively. And I'll read this part. It says here, let's discuss this at some point. We need to be careful not to put out any stories that look so placed. Definitely open to discussion as a group on different ideas, especially as it links into new projects to clear it all up. Definitely don't want to place stories and yet just want to change the narrative. I wish they would write that. I only said nice things about her and never spoke disparagingly of the cast, and so it's apparent that the feud only works one way, and would love to start the move towards the future of what's next. Not sure when the time would be right, but announcing that I'm directing Pac-Man, I I think would be a good move sometime soon. We totally agree, and I think you can see the majority of the press and social wise agrees with you as well. Paragraph 106 states, was still, these are documented communications overlooked by Lively and the Times that especially refute Lively's erroneous accusation by the way of example. Um, some more communications there. Paragraph 107 states, though the Times admits it had access to thousands of relevant text messages and emails, its skewed reporting makes it painfully obvious that it failed to substantiate the false accusations hurled by Lively. Indeed, the objective evidence refutes any allegations that plaintiffs engaged in a smear campaign to bury Lively and destroy her reputation, which is the point of which was the point of the article. Wow, Lively's wound was entirely self-inflicted. The plaintiff retained crisis public relations to defend against Lively's unrelenting assault does not change this fact. Stephanie Jones discloses confidential communications. Curiously, neither Lively's CRD complaint nor the article make any mention of embattled publicist Stephanie Jones. Jones, former publicist to Wayfarer, now insists, as part of a separate lawsuit filed in New York, that she was swept up in plaintiff's so-called smear campaign. And yet, on August 14th, 2024, Jones sent an email to Heath detailing her recommended strategy. This is the email. Wayfarer later terminated Jones for among other things, having allegedly leaked information to the Daily Mail despite specific instruction from Wayfarer not to. Jones is notorious for exacting her revenge on any client brave enough to escape her grasp. Jones is equally notorious for her alleged maltreatment of current and former employees alike. Wayfarer and Able are no exception. It is hardly coincidence that all of the communications on which Lively and the Times now rely were purportedly produced by Jones' company, Jones Works LLC, pursuant to subpoena. The propriety of this alleged subpoena is unverified and at a minimum highly questionable, given Jones' involvement and the means by which Jones first obtained these confidential communications. Abel, a former employee of Jones Works, was forced to relinquish our electronic devices when confronted by Jones Works security guard and attorney upon her separation from the company 6 weeks after she had put in notice and shared her plan to start her own business. Jones, on the heels of damning Business Insider article and emerging clients, insisted that Abel turn over her electronic devices to allow Jones Works to delete all confidential and proprietary information therefrom. Though Jones initially agreed to release Abel's personal phone number, she reneged. 4 months later, Abel's text messages are now subject of Lively's CRD complaint and the article. Plaintiffs are informed and believe that Jones invited the subject's subpoena to circumvent her confidentiality obligations to Wayfarer and inflict the most unethical form of revenge. The Times publishes a false and defamatory article based on Lively's administrative complaint. The New York Times is one of the most widely read newspapers in the United States, and once upon a time served as a primary newspaper of record, publishing all news that fits to print. The Times was considered a paragon of journalistic integrity and excellence, the gold standard of journalism in the United States, and highly respected news outlets internationally. For generations, the paper's historical influence on the socio-political and cultural life of the country and its institutions could not be overstated. Americans long relied on the Times as a source of accurate and balanced news reporting. Viewpoint-based commentary was expressly excluded from news stories. Indeed, for years, Americans grew to expect the Times would as legendary Times executive A.M. Rosenthal said, tell it straight, and or in other words, simply report the news without embellishing or driving it. For much of his storied history, whether it was the Civil Rights Movement, the Vietnam War, Watergate, or other political and cultural issues, through its objective investigative reporting and the diverse views presented on its op-ed pages, the Times strove to inform America that through high journalistic standards, accuracy, and fairness, the publication has won far more Pulitzer Prizes than any other media company in U.S. history, with its first being awarded more than 100 years ago. But over the last 20 years, the Times reporters have ever more frequently veered spectacularly from their own journalistic guidelines. As a result, it has become commonplace to find New York Times stories containing egregious factual errors or infected with bias. Such lapses have contributed to public distrust of the Times and a landscape where partisan actors cry fake news with some justification. But the New York Times still wields powerful and influential megaphone in the media and greater society. It is therefore under a solemn obligation to do the work necessary to get its reporting right. As reporters and at the Times well know, getting it wrong can lead to disastrous outcomes for story subjects, including financial, professional, and reputational ruin. And New York Times sets the narrative and tone for other news organizations, amplifying the impact of its mistakes. The instant case is emblematic of the Times having lost its way. As the facts here make plain, the Times failed to follow its own journalistic standards, rushed to judgment, and with careless disregard, published a story accusing plaintiffs of waging a smear campaign against Lively, causing feeding frenzy based on demonstrably false premise. At 9:43 p.m. Eastern Time on December 20th, 2024, Tauhi requests plaintiffs' response to its reporting regarding a crisis communication operation conducted on behalf of Justin Baldoni, Jamie Heath, and Wayfarer Studios to protect their reputations and harm Blake Lively's, as described in the legal complaint filed today. Tuohei, I don't know how to say this name. This is difficult. Tuohei wrote, in part, "We are seeking your response to the claims of retaliation through this PR campaign, and we would welcome the opportunity to talk with you on the record. Please offer any on the record comments, as well as any other information you think we should know. Additionally, please notify us of any inaccuracies. We need to hear back from you tomorrow by noon Eastern." At 2:16 a.m. Eastern Time, plaintiff's legal representative responded as follows: "It is shameful that Ms. Lively and her representative would make such serious and categorically false accusations against Mr. Baldoni, Wayfarer Studios, and its representative, as yet another desperate attempt to fix our negative reputation, which was garnered from our own remarks and actions during the campaign for the film, interviews, and press activities that were observed publicly in real time and unedited, which allowed for the internet to generate their own views and opinions. These claims are completely false, outrageous, and intentionally salacious, with an intent to publicly hurt and rehash a narrative in the media. Wayfarer Studios made a decision to proactively hire a crisis manager prior to their marketing campaign of the film to work alongside their representative with Jones Works, employed by Stephanie Jones, due to the multiple demands and threats made by Miss Lively during production, which including her threatening to not show up to not showing up to set, threatening to not promote the film, ultimately leading to his demise during release. If her demands were not met, it was also discovered that Miss Lively enlisted her own representative, Leslie Sloan, with Vision PR, who also represents Mr. Reynolds, to plant negative and completely fabricated and false stories with the media. Even prior to any marketing had commenced for the film, which was another reason why Wayfarer Studios made the decision to hire a crisis professional to commence internal scenario planning in the case they needed to address. The representative of Wayfarer Studios still did nothing proactive nor retaliated, and only responded to incoming media inquiries to ensure the balanced and factual reporting and monitor social activity. What is pointedly missing from the cherry-picked correspondence is evidence that there were no proactive measures taken with media or otherwise, just internal scenario planning and private correspondence to strategize, which is standard operating procedure with public relations and professionals. At 10:11 a.m. Eastern Time on December 21st, 2024, the Times published the article, notwithstanding that the Times were made aware of the egregious defamatory allegations contained therein. It proceeded with publication without further inquiry. Indeed, in its rush to publish a one-sided, unsubstantiated story on behalf of Blake Lively, the Times got it dramatically wrong. The aftershocks has been disastrous for plaintiffs, and they now reluctantly reluctantly, and knowing the damage cannot be fully undone, bring a suit to hold the Times accountable and for its egregious misfire. And it was a misfire. So they are suing. The first cause of action is libel, which is defamation. It says plaintiffs incorporate by reference each and every allegation set forth in paragraphs 1 through to 119, inclusive as if set forth for the hearing. So 119, where is it? Okay, so that's all of the that's every allegation that has been made there. The article purported to detail a campaign allegedly orchestrated by plaintiffs to tarnish Lively. It did not. It did so chiefly through selective disclosure of private communications allegedly exchanged between plaintiffs. Persons who read the article reasonably understood the references to Baldoni, Heath, Sorowitz, Abel, Nathan, and Wallace, and their representing companies to references of plaintiffs herein. The article contained fabricated and false, malicious, and defamatory statements of facts concerning plaintiffs, and that is the first cause of complaint. The second cause of complaint is false light invasion of privacy. So I think that's all I'm gonna be going through today. Prayer for relief. Prayer for relief goes as plaintiffs pray for judgment against the defendant as follows: for general and special damages in amount according to proof, for all statutory penalties authorized by law, for punitive and exemplary damages in an amount sufficient to punish defendants, for wrongful conduct alleged herein to deter of such conduct in the future, for liquidated damages, for cost of suits incurred herein, for attorney's fees permitted by law or contract, for prejudgment interest, for such and other relief the court might deem proper. So, what do I think? I honestly think that this is enough to clear anti-slapp in my opinion. I think there's enough here that it's not going to be difficult for them to pass that hurdle should the Times invoke the anti-slapp ruling. Now, this like I said before, this might be a new way of playing PR now, which they use the court to engage in a PR battle. But also, I must also say that I will take a look at Blake Lively's formalized lawsuit to see if there's anything new that's been brought up there. If there's nothing new, I'm not gonna be doing a stream. But if there is something new that's brought up there, I will do a stream. But I will pay attention for any responses from the New York Times in regards to his filing, because it does seem like Justin Baldoni is very serious about seeing this to the end. Who knows? It could reach a settlement and they could settle out of court. Who knows what happens in this? But if it goes all the way, we'll follow it all the way, man. We will try and bring updates as the case continues. So I like to thank everyone that have tuned in to watch today's stream. Every single one of you. Thanks Pam and Christine Fortunato, and everyone that I've utilized the chat. Thank you so much for tuning in to the stream, and I hope that you guys enjoyed the stream. I'll see you on the next one. Yeah, that's all we have time we have time for today. All right, bye for now. The show is over, but that does not mean that the fun has to end. And I know how cliche that sounds, but really and truly, the fun really does not have to end. You know how good our streams are and how fun they can be. So we have decided to put them all into a podcast and a playlist format for you to binge on if you so wish. We also do recaps and clips of the best bits, the worst bits, all of those bits, lady bits, every bits, whatever it might be. We do that as well, and we upload onto the channel so in case you guys just wanna you don't wanna watch the full thing, you have the option of watching just the short versions. It's up to you. You have the choice. You have the power, like E-Man. So without further, you can also check out the main Heinz website where we continue the discussions over there, but in a more broader context to try and get into the psychology of why all these things happen. The end screen should be up here so that you guys can see the content you guys can watch. The playlist will be on your left hand side or right hand side, I don't know which one, and the video that and a recap clip should pop up here. So without further, I'll just say bye, and I'll see you on the next stream, and most importantly, the Unintentional Juror podcast. See you there.